We have with us Santhosh today. I would introduce Santhosh Giri sir for this session for today. So he's a thoughtful and disciplined IT operations leader with over 16 years of experience navigating complex digital landscapes. More than just a technologist, Santhosh is someone who brings integrity, precision, and purpose to everything he does. So, whether it's securing critical infrastructure, enabling business continuity, or guiding transformation across global enterprises. So, known for his collaborative mindset and relentless focus on operational excellence, he partners closely with stakeholders to turn challenges into meaningful, data driven outcomes. At his core, Santhosh is passionate about creating resilient, future ready systems that not only support business goals but also drive real, lasting value. Welcome, Santhosh, to the for the session today, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Nidhi, for the quite good introduction about me after a very long time.
So, over to you. I'll keep myself
Thank,
muted.
yeah. Uh, Thanks again. Welcome all. I hope everyone finds the safe place, and I think it's already getting twilight. I think it's already 7 p.m. now. I think we have 1 hour, I think, from now to run over this session. So today's session, I think I've been entitled to volunteer myself to, move towards cybersecurity in the era of digital transformation. So these are two things. One is cybersecurity, and the other one is digital transformation. So I've spent all my experience in IT, and then closely I'm managing and holding accountability functions from cybersecurity aspect, as well as from the IT intelligence operations aspect in Shell, so which is an oil and gas company. I think we all, most of us will be knowing about this company. I think this is my fourth company in my career in 16 years. So today's session I'll be more towards cybersecurity. Why this topic I have chosen, because it's very close to my heart, and currently I'm working into. I'm sure, like everyone, most of us in this call or maybe beyond, right, would be interested to flag their career into this. It's a very challenging, and it's also an interesting stream to be part of and to work forward in a career, and also become a kind of a leader in this cybersecurity space. So cybersecurity, I think we all know, like from an IT perspective, we have database, we have network, we have applications, we have infrastructure or platform. We call it. I think we all are tech people. I think most of us know how to use WhatsApp, Gmail account, and other apps on their phones, right? So one thing, I'm also CISSP certified as well. So recently, I think last year I had done my CISSP. That's an ISC2 sponsored cybersecurity professional leadership certification that I had done. And I still have few more years to work for myself and grow in this field. So I started as a developer initially in 2008, somewhere around. I think that was a time where we had Lehman crisis, and was part of a service provider company, and then eventually changed roles, moved into project management, and then into IT operations. Then we leveraged into a intelligence IT operations, and then looking into the two streams, cybersecurity and intelligence IT operations. So what is cybersecurity? If I ask to myself or everyone else, right? So what it is actually? So in a layman terms, what it is a practice of protecting people, systems, and the data from cyber attacks by using various technologies that we have at a place, and using processes and policies right, in order to manage those risks and keep away those bad vectors, or we call it as threats, right, from our systems, and safeguard our data in a more secured way, right? So that's a very layman, and I would say a very high level definition of cybersecurity. It's protecting our data, our people, our technology using the same systems and processes in place, including the policies that we have at our enterprise level. So in cybersecurity, 2010, I think it's been there, but it was not that prominent because we were moving towards developing applications and getting those digital solutions in place. I think we were doing our own kind of work in our own ways, right? In after joining organizations, right? So what I felt is that I think cybersecurity, it's been there. It's more similar towards like how you do your physical security. It is similar to that. Like we protect our data, we protect our applications, we protect our solutions from attackers. Like there could be a ransomware attack, there could be phishing attacks. So any ransom attack can encrypt your data and just. I think recently we have seen, if I'm not wrong, I think after this Russia-Ukraine war, many companies had fallen prey towards ransomware attack, right? So recently, if I remember an example, I think it was in retail. I don't remember the company's name. So that entire data was encrypted, and I think the hackers they tried asking ransom from the company. Now, in that scenario, the companies could have gone maybe a cyber insurance, or they could have gone for any sort of backup, having a valid backup of their data, so that they need not worry and they can just upgrade their infrastructure and get the data flowing in. But again, it has got a lot of risk, a lot of legal aspects to deal with, because every country is having a different legal framework. So I think it goes to a different level altogether. So that's one example I would say. Now, coming in 2015, 2020 was the type of period where we went into a digital transformation journey, and we are still into the digital transformation journey. And what is this digital transformation? First of all, so it's more towards having all the applications that we use in our daily life, right? Like Gmail, your operating system, your all those WhatsApp, or they're protected, right? Their data is encrypted. So if I'm messaging anyone, my data won't be seen by anyone else. Even the Facebook cannot see my data. That's, I think it's called as meta nowadays, right? So that level of protection is required, and we have a lot of frameworks like GDPR for data protection. In India, we have DPDP. And I think from a health perspective, we have HIPAA, all those compliance aspects. If we consider that's a kind of a GRC module aspect. So digital transformation is more towards getting towards industry 4.0 or 5.0, we call it. And I think everything is digitalized now, right? So if you see the banks, and they're providing everything through app. If you go any organizations, everything is data. Say I work in oil and gas company. If you ask me, data is oil for me, right? So that much, I think, more than money, data holds more value, because we are moving towards AI, right? I think the AI revolution has kicked off now. That's another part of digital transformation, right? So if you see, most of our applications were on-premise hosted somewhere around 2015-16, and we kicked off with Azure, Microsoft, AWS, cloud. I think most of our data is sitting on cloud nowadays. And then again, with this, there are different set of controls that needs to be put in place so that our data is safeguarded. So other than that, now with AI, right? So if you look up the AI sense, right? So AI is, again, I think there are various models. We use large language models, we use licensing models, we use Copilot, we use I think Gemini from Google. I think there are different varieties of like ChatGPT and all. Even AI can be used as a kind of I would say, even they can help to generate fake alerts, right? So we have to, and I think everyone knows about deep fakes, and also anyone can impersonate if they can get hold of your system, get hold of your phone. So that's the reason we need to be very careful while going into the marketplaces or any shopping spaces, right? So when at the POS level, they normally ask a mobile number, like so we have to be very careful, like when giving these numbers, right? So what these numbers would be taking place, in other sense, like what these numbers, what they will be doing with our numbers. So they can sensitize our data in different format, they can get hold of our accounts or anything to do with, right? So they can just play with it. So I think they are using it for marketing purpose. We have to be very, very careful. And I think the key aspect here is it is due diligence and due care. So it's I think I still hold that human intelligence and it's human consciousness holds an importance. I think we have a lot of clinical methods, a lot of clinical institutions in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of providing digital trust and all aspects regarding it, right? So coming to the core topic of today's, right? So cybersecurity in the era of digital transformation. So that's an overall crisp message. What is digital transformation and what is cybersecurity, right? So if I move towards like what is that we are talking about, right? So I think cybersecurity in the era of digital transformation, again, it is a critical and evolving topic as organizations are increasingly adopting digital technologies like cloud computing, your Internet of Things, IoT, AI, big data, mobile platforms, applications, software as a solutions. Their exposure to cyber threats grows exponentially. Hence, I think we need to be careful on the aspect of cybersecurity in the era of digital transformation. So what is the impact of digital transformation on cybersecurity? I think if you see the legacy methods of protecting our data into our apps, we had firewalls, we were able to encrypt our data, right? So I think those were like legacy methods. Now, with the impact of digital transformation, the attacker surface have increased. Now, because of the we have more digitalized solutions, we have more applications, and we have more data sources. So that means there are more potential entry points for the attackers. Now, this can also be with cloud migration. And I think cloud migration is another form of digital transformation, where again, with cloud, even though cloud services offer scalability and efficiency, they also introduce risk at the same time. Like anything can be misconfigured from a storage aspects, and we can have insecure APIs, and with the shared responsibility comes a lot of risk to our data. And I think after the COVID, I think we have moved to a hybrid ways of working, and especially even in the current scenario, right? So I think I still go to 3 days office and I work 2 days from home, right? So remote working, there's a shift to hybrid and remote working environments, which has made endpoint security and secure access more important than ever. Because you might be logging in from a cafe, you might be logging in from a distant stations, right? So I think you have to be very careful, like, are you using a right kind of VPN, the company provided a virtual private network, or you're just logging into some hotspot or any other cafe's Wi-Fi. So you have to be very, very careful. Your data can be, collectively hacked, right? Coming to the IoT and edge computing, I think we know that these technologies are advanced. They bring a lot of innovation in terms of computing, right? Faster computing of data, but at the same time, I think they often lack robust security protocols, right? So when I say protocols, those protocols are nothing but like these are policies, these are baselines, like what is the security posture, how would I improve it, right, with the advanced technology. So otherwise they could be vulnerable to exploitation. So anyone can exploit anything, right? So because if the hackers or if the attackers, right? So let me use these two terms for the bad company and for the good company. I think, like, if they are thinking in, we have to think in their shoes and see like what can be hacked, what can be compromised, what data can be compromised, right? So I think these are the scenarios we need to think with the impact of digital transformation and cybersecurity, right? Coming to the emerging cybersecurity challenges, right? So I think since the digitally we are getting innovate in an innovation circle, right? So with AI and other stuffs are coming up. So with AI innovation, with Gen AI innovations, right, we are modeling the data, we are doing a predictive maintenance, right? So we can have our dashboards, we can give visualizations on the applications. Like if you go to a retail station, right? So how those products, like if I'm a customer, if I'm buying a product, right? But if I see that there are almost like thousand varieties of products available for one catalog, right? So how that is been made available? Because AI has kicked off. They are providing data analytical solutions, so that influences your space planning, right? And that influences your supply chain, right? So I think they're able to get a kind of an intelligence to the machine learning. But again, we are doing a lot of innovation, but at the same time, it is kind of a providing a privilege, right, to the attackers, and they can also automate and enhance their methods in order to bypass your systems, right? So they can bypass your POS. So you can see, I think recently we had this CrowdStrike issue, right? So I think everyone, there was some update that went in last year, if I remember. I think even the flights and all, they were not able to get the customers, right? The passengers were not able to get their boarding passes printed. Nothing was able to get through, right? Because of this. Few of them termed it as an IT issue, but many of them termed it as a cybersecurity issue, because that CrowdStrike, I think that's a third party which uses Microsoft Windows. I think they failed to update some patches on the system, and that led to a kind of a global outage, right? So with the global outage, we can go back to our first definition of cybersecurity. So it's impacting people, it is impacting technology, and also it is impacting processes with the technology and for the technology, against the technology. You can see the supply chain attacks with emerging cybersecurity challenges getting more sophisticated, right? So we have advanced persistent threats, right? So long-term attack targeting sensitive data. We have the ransomware attack, like nowadays. I think you might be hearing 90s or 80s, or you might have watched movies, right? So people would be kidnapping small kids who are very cute, and then they will start challenging their parents to give some amount, and they can release the child, right? So I think similarly some same behavior can be implemented, right, in terms of your ransomware attack, where they can get hold of your data, and increasingly they will target and damage the infrastructure which is critical, right, from healthcare perspective, from a business perspective. So they can just encrypt the data, and they can start companies to they can unlock the data, and then they can only unlock the data if they pay them a ransom amount. But again, companies needs to be cyber resilient, and how they can be resilient? They can do a kind of a cyber insurance. They can do that, right? If it is the business critical applications or business critical systems, right? Especially from the national critical system point of view, right? So I think they should do that, and also they should back up their data on a daily basis. So all those backups, they should see their secondary backups are running on time, in time, and there is no issue with that. So it's kind of a check, kind of a due diligence they should give from their aspect, right? Now coming to that, like these are the emerging cybersecurity challenges, like your advanced persistent threats, right? So we have sophisticated long-term attacks targeting sensitive data. We have ransomware. Then we also have supply chain attacks compromising third-party vendors to infiltrate large organizations, right? And then there are AI-powered attacks that can generate alerts. They can generate phishing alerts in order to emotionally blackmail any user and get hold of their credentials and log onto the system or hack the system. But they can do that, right? So you have to be very, very careful. So what are the cybersecurity strategies in this modern digital transformation journey? So one is zero trust architecture. So what is this zero trust architecture? So I think whenever you go, right? So whenever you see a building, right? So you see so there is a blueprint. So how the building is made. So there is on paper the architect, the real estate architecture, right? So the building architecture, they draw kind of their diagrams, landscape diagram. Similarly, we have data architecture, we have application architecture, we have software architecture. So in these architectures, we should build those boxes and have those connects, and kind of push a systems thinking in terms of never trust but always verify. Whenever you want to check the access control, right? So you intend to see that the accesses are in place for the genuine users. And how do you do that? We can have access control in system, right? Then we can also, from the designing, if you see from a SDLC point of view, software design life cycle point of view, right? So every software will have an end of life, right? So how it is being designed, the project management life cycle, if you go, right? So everything, like how you're designing, ensure that we embedded security into the development cycle of all our digital applications, all our software products. And also we can leverage AI and machine learning, right? And to be, we can use it for a threat detection. Then we can also do a behavioral analysis of these users who log on to this software or these applications. Other spaces like from a modern strategy perspective with respect to cybersecurity, that is your cybersecurity mesh. And it's about the modern cybersecurity strategies. One is your zero trust architecture. Nowadays, I think we always ask questions, right? So whenever someone enters a building, we give an approval kind of thing through our I think we have MyGate and other applications which are there, right? So we verify them. We don't trust, even those are, we have ordered a pizza from the trusted partner like Domino's, anyone, still we verify it, right? By an approval. So similar process, the same process needs to be mimicked into our cyber security strategies with respect to the evolving and innovative solutions that we are getting for our. So coming to the these are the modern cyber security strategies, right? So one is zero trust, the other one is security by design. You implement correct firewalls, we implement who should be given accesses. If anyone has experienced the military organizations, right? So the above ranks would be having visibility and access to the information, but the lower rank people won't be having access to that information. And there are certain information where lower rank people or the forces would be having access to, but the higher rank people will not have any access. That's kind of called as a mandatory access system in place. Then we have role-based access system. So what is that role? If I give you access to my application that I'm using for some CRM, purpose in my organization, right? So there can be a role like you might be playing as a purchaser, or you might be playing as an acquisition role, right? So any role, so only that particular role will be given access to that particular functionality in the application. So that's how you design the product, keeping that security from the beginning itself. Like, don't have to get into the security model at the 8th or 9th step, but it should be from the first level itself, right? So that's how we do it. So it's similar to how we do kind of a due diligence into our day-to-day life, right? So I think it's the same thing. While designing the software, we embed security so that all your access management, your network segmentation, your functionalities in the applications, right? All these needs to be taken care from a design perspective, right? So because as the solution keep evolving, the security needs to be keep evolving and designed as per the standard, right? So every organization has got their own standards, right? Like one, we have NIST, I think National Institute of Standard and Technology, that's a US cybersecurity framework, right? So, and then we have ISO, which is your ISO IEC 27001. So there are others as well, which are called as a best practices from an industry standard point of view. And then there are global regulations we comply with, like GDPR for EU countries, right? Your European nations, like a global data protection regulation. And then for DPDP, we have for India, right? That mandates strict data protection standards, right? Suppose, for example, you're using WhatsApp in India, right? Your data as per the DPDP has to be protected by the Facebook or the Meta, right? Who is processing your data, anyone's data, because that data is sensitive to that particular individual. They cannot just process the data without the user consent. That's the reason whenever you open an account or you browse anything, right? So you might have seen some consent is being taken. So we blindly just click on yes, because we are so eager to get into the application and see like what we can do as a workflow, right? So I think that those consents, the cookies and all those are like part of our regulations, like for GDPR, DPDP, I think for California it is CCPA, sorry I cannot just forget the full form, and then for HIPAA we have for health records, right? These are the kind of a global regulations that probably I think we need to be knowing it. GDPR and DPDP, I think these are like more prominent. There are other Southeast Asian countries follow other regulations, I think from their standard point of view, right? Because in compliance with the legal and the IT team, right? So that's where, right? So and from a there is a continuous compliance also, right? So we need to ensure that real-time monitoring of these applications are there, and reporting to ensure that ongoing adherence, that we are adhering to these regulations. It's not that like let me tell you an example. I think it was way back in Microsoft. Someone hacked the data, right? And Microsoft, I think it's a US based organization, we all know, right? And that hacker was sitting in US, right? So when FBI, which is your I think that's a France, like similar to CBI, we have FBI, right? So foreign your investigation. So they reported this case to US jurisdiction, and USA said that we cannot give the hacker because it's a US citizen, right? So I think these are the regulations, right, which will not allow you to arrest those people, right? So because they have done some compromise, they have hacked some data, and they're sitting in US, being in US. So I think, we somewhere around recently 10-15 years back, I think we went with the kind of a different act that was proposed, and US, the federal nations, the federal government mandated all the IT companies which are geographically headquartered in US to provide all the data to all the respective individuals globally, right? So I think whatever applications we use, like Gmail or anything, right? So they always take your consent. The consents can be in the form of cookies, in the form of whenever you log in, right? So I think there are already some messages that are popping on your screen, and you just click OK, and then that's a kind of a consent. So probably we don't have those time to read those conditions, but these are consents already being taken from a contract perspective. And these contracts are like, you might be, I think there are some software contracts that kicked off with like the packaging, and also when you unpackage anything, so that's automatically the consent is being taken. That says that the user has already read that. So that's a kind of a deep dive if you really want to get into those, right? So, and for India we have DPDP, right? So Digital Personal Data Protection Act, right? So we call it. It was established in 2023 recently, and it establishes a comprehensive framework for the protection of personal data in India, empowering individuals, right, and the citizens with the right over their data, and regulating how organization handles such data, right, with the data processors and all. So everything, you can go and raise cases in you can raise a civil cases in the courts, high courts. I think there are different cyber laws we have in India as well. So if anyone is interested, I think may be aware of National Law University of India. I think that we have 8 or 7 schools right across India, which provides your kind of cyber forensic and cyber law learning. It's a 1-year diploma. So I think that's the you get more deep dive when you have experience, and then also learning in partnership, right, with the institutional ways of learning that can help you to understand what is going in industry and what is that we need to equip with as a knowledge, right? So I think that's the way forward, right? So we have TPDP, we have GDPR, we have HIPAA. All these are regulatory and compliance regulations that are in place in India, Europe, and then in US, right? From a strategy perspective, we need to be very careful. Zero trust architecture we need to have. Never trust, always verify. And then designing a software, when you're coding a software, right, ensure that security is embedded into the development cycle of your software applications or digital product, right? So, and then we can leverage machine learning and AI for threat detections, behavior analysis, and automated response for users, right? So this is the thing. Now, I think the future outlook, if you look into it, right, so I think that's more towards your quantum computing, blockchain. We have potentials to break current encryption methods requiring quantum resistance algorithms. Then we have another aspect to look at is human-centric security. So whatever we advance with technology, right, so it's always boils down to the human-centric security, and which says that focus on user behavior, awareness to training, and also doing a kind of an insider threat mitigation. In my team, there could be some insider threats as well, right? So they can leverage, they can block my access or hack my systems, right? They can do that, right? So, and we have seen such examples I have seen live examples in my career. So we have to be very, very careful about these human-centric security aspects, right? And then there are resilience, cyber resilience. What does cyber resilience? What is the difference between cyber security and cyber resilience? Cyber security is towards securing and protecting your data, your systems, and people, right, from hackers with policies in place. We use those policies, right? And then we have cyber resilience. It's like how quickly you can recover from the impact. Suppose a cyber incident has occurred, security incident has breached, right? If there is a data breach, how fast you can recover from that impact, and that is called cyber resilience. That is more towards emphasizing towards recovery, data recovery, your business continuity, and adaptability, I would say. So that's a kind of a cyber resilience aspect, right? Any questions?
Hi, Santhosh sir.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Nilesh Kanti. Yeah, I have one question. How does a zero trust security model support digital transformation?
Right, that's a very good question. First of all, thanks for that. So zero trust architecture, right? So zero trust architecture. Your question is how does it is in line with digital transformation? If I reframe it, right?
Yeah.
So digital transformation is we are moving towards innovation in terms of technology advancement, right? In order to better user experience, in order to build better product, right? And we need to digitalize everything, right? So we did not have anything on off record. Now, when such a move goes right, such at a faster rate, right? If you see AI, it is still evolving, but it is evolving and it is being. I think there are governance things are there are agentic AIs, and there are, if you see the deep fakes and phishing alerts being generated. So if you see the advancement of technology is also giving a kind of an opportunity for the hackers in order to do a attack on the systems, right? So in order to safeguard that, so zero trust architecture is like you are not trusting any. You are building a product with a mindset. It's a mindset. I would say it's a mindset altogether. So it's when I say it's a mindset, right? So what I mean is that it's like you're not trusting it, but at the same time you're verifying it, right? So what does that mean actually? Let me put it in a different term, right? So it is a concept, it is a strategy, it is a kind of a design approach from an architectural perspective, right? So you are defining a zero trust means that you are able to whatever software you are making from a coder aspect, from a development aspect, from a software development aspect, right? You're ensuring that you are embedding security, and also you're strategizing the design from a security design approach perspective with respect to your architecture. It is not a single system, it is not a product, it is a mindset, it is a concept, it is a strategy. Hope that answers.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And one of the other thing is that there is a zero trust maturity model. So in your software development life cycle, you need to embed these concepts. One concept is that it's a journey and mindset, because whatever software you develop, right? So it will definitely, its infrastructure will have end of life. Probably you have to recode it based on the business requirement, right? So business model keeps changing, right? Then the technology has to equip themselves in order to serve the business. Then only there is a value generated, right? So there is nowadays, like earlier, if you go 15-20 years back, the purpose of software development and everything was like you are just developing with no downtime. It should serve the purpose, that's it. But now it has moved from the purpose to a value generation. What is the value we are giving to business? Business demand is changing, right? It is kind of a dynamic nowadays. We are into that VUCA world. When I say VUCA world, we are vulnerable, right? So we are ambiguous, we are uncertain, right? So there is an ambiguity, there is a vulnerability. So there is there are so many things which are happening, right? Because of geopolitical situations. That if you see the recent trade policies that was put up from US at all the countries, right? So that has also impacted your CRM softwares, right? So they have to embed those entry points into their design systems, right? So that the software lifecycle is an evolving journey. You might be knowing about this Scrum Master Agile. So we were doing earlier kind of an SDLC model. Now we are moving towards agile model, because we do not know next day if my business is buying certain products from me, suddenly overnight he stops buying products. Now, what could be the issue? Either it could have been a security issue, right? So you have to consider those aspects, and you have to use your own brilliant basics in order to journey through this incremental software designs, right? Maybe version 1, version 2, version 3, all those incremental softwares, and get that, recognize that effect of safety systems, right? Operation systems. So safety operation, if you see anything to do with your you might be seeing, right? Recently we had this what do you say, Pakistan and India war, right? So I think because of their some misbehavior, right? So I think they did something, and India counterattacked them, and they were having their missiles. So if you see, their missiles were getting neutralized, right? So why? Because they were not able to access our defense systems, because defense systems are protected. They might be dependent on some software. The software, if there can be a glitch in the software, then the entire defense system could have been compromised, and we could have got a missile hit, right? So think from a real-time example, real examples that we have been through. So these are the things I think we all watch all those intelligence and raw serials and everything, right? So you might be learning all those, right? So I think you should be understanding that aspect and related to. So one concept of software is towards business, how we make business out of it. The other one is from a national security perspective, right? So when I say national security, it's a critical systems. So critical systems are like mandated access, mandated zero trust policies. So you have to have that journey and mindset in order to build safer systems so that it cannot be compromised, right? So hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? Okay. Some of the questions I would ask, probably I think good that you guys can make a note of it, right? So I think these questions I have prepared myself, and some of the questions in today's digital transformation era. See, first of all, cybersecurity, it's a growing and demanding field. Whether you go into assurance level, right, manage those controls, or get into a CISO role, your what is a chief information security officer, right? And then either you get into intelligent IT operations, or you go into a software development phase, right? In any of the model that you fit in, cybersecurity is there and will be there, and it has advanced to that level. So you can imagine if a ISS is flying, Indian Space International Space Station, I think recently last Wednesday or Thursday, if I don't remember the day, I think it took the trajectory route through India, and I could be able to, it was visible to my naked eye. I was able to capture its glimpse, right? So anyone can attack that as well. So it is that critical. So you have to think from that aspect, right? So anything which is in space and it's controlled through softwares, so you can hack the NASA systems, you can hack the ISRO systems if you are that intelligent, and you can play, but that's a bad game, right? So we want to be a good citizen, right? So we have to use our technology in a more ethical way. Some of the questions for considerations in today's session is that how could cybersecurity threats affect different functions? Now that can include your supply chain, your government, your public relations, finance, and human resource. We have ERP systems, we have fintech solutions, we have supply chains, right? So what are the threats that you can think about, right? So different types of threats that can affect different type of functions. That is one question. Second, what type of critical information could be lost to these cyber attacks? One is your trade secrets. Every country, every nation has some trade secrets, right? It can be customer data, it can be your research could go for a toss, and the most viable is your personally identifiable information could be at a toss. Third question, how can my business create long-term resiliency to minimize our cybersecurity risk in the digital transformation journey, right? So one, they can have a good data backup, they can have a good cyber insurance, and ensure that zero trust and security by design is in the concept of software development journey. Fourth question, what kind of cybersecurity threats information sharing does my business participate in? With whom does my business exchange this information? So whenever there is a threat, there is a system is compromised, your data has been breached, what do? Do you get panic, or you have a response plan in place? You have a recovery system in place? So all those aspects that needs to be considered. So whatever we are doing, right? So if I'm working in oil and gas, so what is my day-to-day job? I am responsible and accountable to provide operational all my IT systems and OT systems, information technology systems and operational technology systems, right? Reliable and secure. At the same time, giving a good user experience, right? And accelerating that business value in the day-to-day management of our IT operation. And the last question, what type of information sharing practices would my business adapt that would help foster community among the different cybersecurity group where my business is a member? So you need to be careful whenever you are sharing this information with individuals, or whenever you are in an organization, whether it's your line manager or your boss or any your colleague, even though he's a close friend. So you need to make that decision, what is the information that you're sharing with him or her. So these were the questions that you can also challenge and ask yourself, right? So whenever you're building a solution, you're having a minimum access, role-based access system, zero trust, security by design, all those encryption model, all those firewalls in place, if it is a network based solutions, right? So all those, are you doing a kind of a regular pen testing? You're doing a kind of penetration testing in order to find any vulnerabilities in the software, any patches that needs to be updated, your database, security baseline, all these aspects need to be part of your day-to-day ongoing journey whenever you are into cybersecurity. Not matter that you're in cybersecurity, you have to do this, but also as a software developer, also as an IT manager, which is myself, and also part of CISO organizations, your Chief Information Security organization, you have to deal with this day in, day out. So what are the best practices that can help organizations or the companies or institutions manage cybersecurity risk? There is more information for each of the recommendation that I have for you guys, but what are the best practices in order to help organizations manage cybersecurity risks? One is elevate cyber security risk management discussions to the company CEO and the leadership team, because senior management team in any organization or the CEO or the board members, they always focus on ROI, return of investment. What is the profit? How much revenue we have made? But no one focuses unless and until a cybersecurity issue occurs, right? So incident occurs. So you have to elevate that discussions within your peers, within the higher management, and also to the CIO level through different channels. You can use emails, you can use your discussions, you have awareness sessions, whatever you want to go with as choice, right? And always evaluate and manage organization specific cybersecurity risk. Whenever you are into a I would say organization entrepreneurship, right? So whenever you're building any organization, not as software, when you're building an organization, you have to consider the risk. What from a cybersecurity, what could be the risk? So data, it's very important. Technology, it's very important. Safer technology, securing your data, right? By having minimum cyber security measures in place, which are in compliant with regulation bodies like your GDPR, DPDP, HIPAA, and all other aspects, right? So we consider it. And then also we have to have a legal consent as well. So I think the fourth best practices would be develop and exercise cybersecurity plans, like you do your tabletop exercises, right? So we do drills, right? If you see in the Army, Air Force, or Navy, right? Indian Army, they do a drill before the actual war occurs. They do a kind of a simulation. So similar simulation exercises you have to do on your software, on your applications. What is that you have to do? You have to build plans and procedures for incident response. How do you have business continuity in place for critical processes, and also do a kind of a disaster recovery? How fast you can recover the data if there is an issue, if there is a catastrophe, right? So these are like tabletop exercises. You keep your business continuity in place so that you are on profit and your system is in line with business processes. Another aspect is ensuring cybersecurity risk metrics are meaningful and measurable. So you have to have those KPIs, right? So for the risk, always from a risk perspective, impact and probability. So risk is measured in these two aspects. Maintain situational awareness about cybersecurity threats. There are bad actors, right? So there is always a risk. Even if you see the security advisor, right, at the national security advisor, right, in India, right, so most of the information, whatever from a critical systems perspective, right, they are secured, they are discussed, they are evolved, they're always in that aspect of continuous improvement. What is that next we do, what is that we need to improvise, how we can make our systems robust. So all these aspects they keep doing in the form of continuous improvement, right? So I'll put one question, maybe I just want to ask the audience in this. Like, I think we all know that AI is there, right? So next wars would not be through physical, right? So I think we already seeing that. So we are in that cyber war space now, right? So we are having cyber crimes, we are having cyber terrorism as well, right? So I think we need to be aware with who benefits most from AI in the cyber war. Is it the attacker or the defender, or it's a balance? So anyone can pick that and answer me.
Can both attacker and defender.
Right. Yeah. So I think the right answer is, I think you're right. I think in one way you're right, but the attackers are like more beneficial because
it also depends on the person who is using the skill, right?
Right. So I think you're right. Absolutely. So it's all about ethical in ethical way, right? So things are moving in. So if you see, but when a poll was posted, this poll, right, in the ISC2, so the attackers are benefiting it more than the defender, right? Because we are using AI with respect to creating ethical solutions, right, in governance with all those regulatory bodies, right? So, but again, there are misuse of AI as well, like in terms of deepfakes, in terms of generating those phishing alerts in order to trigger and compromise data, right? So I think if you compare it overall from a data analytics perspective, right, so attackers are in majority. It depends, again, as you mentioned, can be balanced. So I think someone asked me about this zero trust, right? So I was like, this topic is more close to me. It's a kind of a shift in thinking, and it's a kind of a mindset from trying to find bad stuff and stopping it to identify good stuff and allowing it. So that's a kind of it's a shift in thinking from trying to find bad stuff and stopping it to identify good stuff and allowing it. That's a zero trust. We have zero trust segmentation, we have zero trust data security, we have zero trust network access. And then we also spoke about cyber resilience, which is more towards a process of organization ability to minimize the impact of significant cyber incidents on its primary goals and objectives. So every organization, I think, has their own goals and objective. They always from adding a competitive advantage, right? So competitive value perspective, how they can profit. Because if you see in oil companies, there are major oil companies across the world, right? So we have Chevron, we have Exxon, we have Shell, we have British Petroleum. So they are always in competition, right? So their strategies, their goals and objectives keeps changing. So when that changes, you have to also move with the affordable software solutions. We should not tap on high solutions, right? So I think that's also a part of sustainability, right? So I think safer and sustainable solution at the same time, balancing with security aspect as well. So if I ask one question, like last question, anyone has got any question, then I can ask this question. So one question, I think we spoke about cybersecurity, what cybersecurity is, and then what's its major role in the digital transformation journey. Then we also spoke about cyber resilience, right? Then we also spoke about some of the regulatory bodies that needs to be aligned with cybersecurity processes, right? So and so if you consider, this is the question now, do you feel the organization's focuses on cyber resilience or cybersecurity, or both? What should be the right answer with this question? What do you feel the organization should focus on, whether it is cyber resilience or cybersecurity?
I think cybersecurity.
Sorry?
Cybersecurity.
Yes, that's the right answer. Because why it is cybersecurity? When you are having minimum, you are having the near to meet all those cybersecurity standards in place, baseline policies you're adhering, you're already meeting your cyber resilience. And we also spoke about what cyber resilience is, right? So it is it is an organizational ability to minimize the impact of significant cyber incidents on its primary goals and objective. But it doesn't mean that whatever cybersecurity aspects we have from a zero trust, security by design aspect, or minimum access control, doesn't mean that my system cannot be compromised. It can be, because we are in the digital transformation journey. As the technology evolves, as the business evolves, the technology will also evolve. The cyber technology or the cyberspace will also evolve, and that will also give an opportunity for the attackers or bad vectors to do a kind of an attack and compromise our data. So it's both way, I would say, right? There's no right or wrong answer, but when you say cybersecurity is important, at the same time, is it aligned with cyber resilience? Because both keeps changing, right? So one changes, the other also changes. If you're running your software on some Java code or something, right? So later on, 5 years down the line, we want to integrate with Databricks with Gen AI concept in order to do a predictive maintenance, but the security remains same, right? 5 years back. So it has to also evolve. And what is the resilience? So if it is not evolving, probably the attackers can find a path and then attack the systems, right? And then that can be in the form of ransomware, that can be in the form of data breaches, or anything to that matter, right? From a cyber attack perspective. Because as the technology, as the business evolves, as the demand of business evolves, the technology evolves. When the technology evolves, your security needs to be evolved. In order to improve the security posture, we have to abide and use and leverage all these AI, Gen AI concepts into our, so that we are also aware to generate automated alerts for us and can do a kind of threat intelligence format, right, for us. And then we can, I won't say that we would be able to safeguard completely. There will be an opportunity for the attackers to still attack. But again, as they evolve, we also evolve. As the business evolve, as the environment evolve, we keep evolving. So it's all about evolution, right? So where we can standardize a system. And that's where we have cyber insurance now. I think with that, I can conclude. Any further questions? Yes, you can definitely share. I am happy to connect with the students. And I think, let me reiterate, cybersecurity, it's a very vast field. I think it's a very good field, and also it is very challenging field. It is for everyone. It is for anyone. I think, and it's a game for. I think this is the cybersecurity area, right? So I'm a XM cyber vulnerability expert from Mossad as well. I think I had done my certification, then I had done from US Homeland Security from an OT system perspective. So we know what is IT information technology, which processes your computes your data. Then OTs are like to your switches and all those processes systems which run at the refineries. I think I had done that. So apart from that, I'm a cyber forensic and digital forensic expert as well. So maybe I can definitely love to connect with all of you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining the session in the evening, and it was really good. I hope students have learned something from your side. It's really good.
Thanks. I think good that I would definitely suggest people to get into this field. It's a very interesting field, right? So I think we have almost a lot of opportunities in cybersecurity space, cyber forensic, your DPO, your data protection officer, all those vulnerability management experts. So there are so many opportunities from a SOC, security operational aspect as well, right? So I think there are so many opportunities with technology being evolving at a very fast pace, right? So I think we have a lot of opportunities in every industry, and this is the game of cybersecurity and cyber forensic or cyber law, whatever we call, right? So there are different opportunities and spaces where we can get into and advance our career to that level where we can mature ourselves. So it's learning for me as well from each one of you, but definitely would like to be connected here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Yeah, thanks all. Cheers, guys, and good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.